The fights to make next after UFC Fight Night, Adesanya versus Imavov. I mean, what an impressive performance by Imavov that, in my opinion, in an ideal world, earns the man a title fight. Let's be straight up with each other here. In an ideal world, he deserves a title shot over Khamzat Chimaev next, given the facts that he is currently on a four fight win streak over all top 10 opponents. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get that into everybody's mind really quickly. Roman Dolidze, number 10. Brendan Allen, number 9. He was like number 6 when he beat him. Jared Cannonier, that's number 8. That's number 9. That's number 10. And then number 2. That is 4 top 10 wins in the UFC middleweight division. Khamzat Chimaev has his 2 top 15 wins that are Ian Machado Gary, and he was supposed to get a title shot before that even. But I digress. Before that, he only had 1 win inside of the top 10, and it was Stephen Thompson. Now Stephen's out, so he only has 1 top 10 win, and he's getting a title shot. You can look at some other weight classes as well. Arman Tsarukyan, his is a little bit better. He's beaten Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush. Again, that's just 2. And he lost to number 8, Mateusz Gamrot. Imavov beat 4 guys in the UFC middleweight division top 10, including the number 2 contender. Number 1 in the champ for fighting. He just beat the next best guy. Should earn it above Chimaev. That's not what's going to happen, though. I think this is what is going to happen. So this is what's going to be the fight to make next. I'm going to say that. But I had to kind of preface my video before that by saying that, well, Imavov in a perfect world is literally the most deserving guy to fight for the belt. Instead, I think Dricus goes out there and beats Sean Strickland over the weekend. UFC 312 main event. And I think he gets the loser, which is going to be Sean, in my opinion. Because that's the only fight he's really lost in the last few years. If he wins that one, he's getting a title fight. Because I wouldn't say he would take this fight unless he said that he would take another fight. If he didn't get the title fight, and I don't think they're going to give him the title fight. And if that's the case, he's going to take another fight. Might as well be the loser of Strickland, Dricus du Plessis, who's going to be the number 1 ranked guy in the middleweight division. That is what I believe. We'll see if it comes to fruition. That's what I would do in the middleweight division is Nasruddin Imavov, who's going to be like number 3 or number 2 versus the number 1 guy. Chimaev's likely going to fight for the belt. Unfortunately, I think, Imavov is actually more deserving. But, Chimaev's undefeated. He's got a massive name. Destroyed Robert Whittaker, beat a former champion in Kamaru Usman, although it was pretty close. But yeah, that's probably what's going to happen there. Then we go on to Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya. I haven't made a post yet. I'm going to, in the next few hours, make a post for all of the losers of UFC Saudi Arabia, who Shaura should fight next, or Zinja Rosenstruck, Said Nurmagomedov, and so on. But as of right now, who should Israel Adesanya fight? Because it is really, really tough. I believe he will still keep going. I don't think he's going to retire. I think he probably should and deserves to right now. I don't think anybody would fault him for retiring right now with the legacy that he has. His title reign was amazing. Beat some great guys and only lost to, again, Imavov, Dricus du Plessis, champion, Sean Strickland, champion, and Alex Pereira, champion, Jan Blachowicz, champion. Imavov is the only non-champion on that list who's 28 years old, could become a UFC champion. So, amazing career. I think he should retire. I don't think he will. So, if he's going to stay in it, which I think he will, who should he fight next? He's going to be ranked either 4th, 3rd, or 5th. He's going to be 3, 4, or 5 in the rankings on Tuesday. You got Caio Borralho there, who's going to be looking to get a shot in there. I would be fine with that. The one thing that I'm like against that is because Caio wants to fight. He's literally like threatening to go up to the light heavyweight division if the UFC doesn't give him a fight. So Caio, I would say, fights Robert Whittaker because Robert Whittaker is actually wanting to return right now. He's training to come back in June. It's February 2nd, March, April, May, June. 4 months away. It's a long wait for sure for Caio Borralho, but it gets him into the top 5. Whereas Adesanya, I believe he fights again. I just don't know if it's going to be in the first half of this year. I don't think it's going to be before June. I think it's going to be more towards August, September, October, November range. Somewhere around then. Somewhere towards the end of the year, if we're being quite honest with ourselves here. And, I don't want to give him a striker that's going to knock him out again. Imavov knocked him out. Dricus du Plessis rocked him and then submitted him. Sean Strickland knocked him down. Alex Pereira knocked him down. I don't want to give him a fight where he's got a huge potential of actually going out there and getting knocked down. So I'm not going to say Caio. I think he can knock him down. Vittori's got a fight. He's fighting Roman Dolidze. But you got Anthony Fluffy Hernandez and you got Brendan Allen fighting. I would love to see Anthony Hernandez versus the former champ. I think he's deserved it more than anybody else coming up the rankings here. Because, again, Adesanya's already fought Cannonier. He's already fought Marvin Vittori. Roman's lost to these guys. Allen lost up here. Paulo. Jack Hermansen's lost to guys up there. Shara just lost. Michel Pereira just lost. I think Anthony Hernandez, on his streak that he's been on of just domination, submitting Roman Kopylov, who everyone was high on, TKOing with ground and pound Michel Pereira, Edmund Shabazian win, Marc-Andre Barriol. I mean, this is a massive win streak with only one decision being Josh Fremd, who I don't know how that's the only guy he wasn't able to finish. I find that to be crazy. But that's what I would like next, because he doesn't have the power really to go out there and knock out Adesanya. So it's really a fight that you make 3 rounds to favor Adesanya and say, Anthony, if you want it, it's going to be 3 rounds, but you get this big step up in competition. I think you make it 3 rounds, you put it on a pay-per-view main card in August, September, October, November, somewhere towards the end of the year, which is when I would assume Adesanya wants to return. And, Anthony Hernandez gets a big step up. He's fighting Brendan Allen very, very soon, but I think he'd be willing to wait. The fight with Brendan Allen doesn't show on here, February 22nd, so it's in like 3 weeks. I think he'd be willing to wait for at least August, September range. February, March, April, May, June, July, August. I think he'd be willing to wait 6 months for it. His fight here against Michel Pereira was in October, November, December, January, February. He's waiting 4 months in between fights there. February to October was a big one. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. That's 8-month break in between fights for Anthony Hernandez. I think he'd be fine waiting 6 months. He waited 4 months for one. He waited 8 months for another. The Shabazian one, that's more than 6 months as well. I think he'd be willing to wait for it. For a big fight like that, I think he'd be willing to wait for it for sure. So Israel Adesanya, after this losing streak, I think you give him a grappler. I think you make it 3 rounds, so he's not going to gas out in those later rounds. You put it on a pay-per-view, and I think that's just what you do next. Michael Page. What do we got for Michael Page? Now, a lot of you guys are going to disagree with this one. I'm not fully sold that this should be the avenue it goes. But versus the loser of JDM and Leon Edwards. Now, there's plenty of ways you can go about this one because there's a lot of other guys that are in that deservingness for that big fight inside of the top 5 to fight the loser of Jack Della and Leon Edwards, who, once they lose, they're going to be ranked around number 4, number 5. Buckley, I'm hearing is going to be fighting Kamaru Usman. Ian Machado Gary just lost up the rankings. He's going to have to fight down. Gilbert Burns just lost up there. Colby just lost up there. Jeff Neal, I don't believe deserves to fight that high up in the rankings. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson just lost up there. Michael Morales and Carlos Prates. Those are the 2. In my comment section on this post, they were like, what do you mean? Why not just do Carlos Prates or Michael Morales and boost them up in the rankings and fight Jack Della or fight Leon Edwards, whoever loses that fight? And to that I say, I think Page is more deserving. I think Page is legitimately more deserving than Prates and Morales. Prates, he's got a great resume in the UFC, but Li Jing Liang and Neil Magny, I rate Shara Magomedov a ranked middleweight, and then Kevin Holland, who was a former ranked middleweight and a former ranked welterweight, as better wins than these 2. I know they're decisions, but they're still great wins to have on his resume that I think are more deserving than Carlos Prates. Michael Morales, I mean, his resume is not even as good. Not even as good as Carlos Prates. Neil Magny and Jake Matthews is his next best. I think MVP deserves it more than these up-and-comers. I think these guys, one of the two, Carlos Prates should fight Jeff Neal. Michael Morales is already fighting Gilbert Burns, so they're already getting their steps up, in my opinion. After that, they could be looking at the loser of Usman Buckley, which still gets him in that top 5 range. They could be looking at the loser of Shavkat versus Bilal. But right now, let's do it. Let's book the loser because he's fighting. He just fought MVP. Let's let Jack and Leon fight. If Leon loses, boom, you got freaking Leon MVP. British versus British. The fight that MVP has been wanting for a while. I think you do that. Then we got Sergey Pavlovich, and I am not impressed by your performance. Was not impressed by your performance. But you know who else I wasn't impressed by their performance? It's Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane, your last fight sucked, okay? And I think this fight will be good. Sorry, it didn't suck. It didn't suck, but I was so, my whole mindset about the fight was distorted when I heard those horrible scorecards of Ciryl Gane wins by split. No. So, without further ado, Ciryl Gane will fight a guy that we just saw to show good wrestling ability, or he fights the other guy in the heavyweight division that has some wrestling and has really, really good wrestling at that, Jailton Almeida. Jailton or Sergey Pavlovich should fight Ciryl Gane next. If Sergey doesn't get this fight, I think Sergey should. What the hell should he do? what should he do? If he doesn't get it, you'd have to do a Curtis Blades rematch at that point. There's not much else you could do, to be honest. But if he does, yeah, Ciryl Gane versus Sergey Pavlovich. If Ciryl Gane's not in the taking fights mood, because he takes long breaks, you do Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Pavlovich. Winner gets a number 1 contender fight, and that's what you do. That's what I got for that. Vinicius Oliveira, this dude is top 15 material, and we're giving him a top 15. Kyler Phillips, co-main event of a Fight Night main card. Let's do it. Let's freaking do it. This is a great striking show here. Kyler's shown to have some good scrambles on the ground as well. Vinicius good on the ground as well, but they're both good on the feet. It's an exciting fight between number 12 Kyler Phillips and the unranked Vinicius, who, in my opinion, I think he's going to be ranked in the rankings update. Let's go to bantamweight. Montel Jackson, Marcus McGee, Ayman Zahabi. I think after that last performance, he's 3-0 in the UFC now. I think he did and had a better performance to earn him a top 15 shot over all 3 of those guys. I think he should be ranked higher than all 3. But at the very least, put him at 15. Do 15 versus 12. Montel Jackson, fight somebody else. I know you have impressive wins, but they're against not that good a competition. Whereas Vinicius Oliveira's beating some damn good competition. Ricky Simone, Bernardo Stopai, and then his last fight, Said Nurmagomedov. Come on, give this man a top 50. And then we got Fares Siam. Impressive performance. Submission defense was great. Grappling was on point. Striking at range was solid. Fares Siam, we're going to introduce you to the top 15 with a freaking bang. We are going to introduce you with a bang. First off, you might be like, what the hell? Why are you going to feed him to the wolves? Rafael Fiziev, he's going to destroy Fares. Just, come on. If he gets offered number 11 Fiziev, he's going to take the fight. He's not going to be like, oh, you guys are trying to make me lose. No. It's a winnable fight. I'm not out here saying it's like a lot of people when I posted that are saying, oh, he's going to get murdered. He probably loses. I think he does. But he's young. He's 27 years old. Beating a guy like Fiziev says a lot about you. It's a big shot to basically the top 10. Fiziev should be ranked above Moicano because he KO'd Moicano. I don't know why he's not ranked top 10. But, ladies and gentlemen, you'd basically be beating a top 10 guy in Rafael Fiziev. Paddy's got a fight. Jalen Turner has a fight. Benoit Saint-Denis has a fight. Grant Dawson does not deserve to fight an unranked guy. Let's say that right now. 3 wins in a row. Second round TKO and Diego Ferreira, Joe Selecki dominantly winning that fight. Damir Ismagulov, Marco Madsen taking his O, beating Jared Gordon. this man deserves to stay in the rankings and fight another ranked opponent. So no, we are not doing Grant Dawson versus Fares Young. That literally only leaves Fazia because Moicano's going to get rewarded for fighting on short notice. That's the only option. That's the only thing Fares could hope for right now. Or he's got to wait. I don't think he wants to wait. So Fares Young, tough matchup there. Then we got Mohamed Naimov. Now I messed it up on here. That's a little preview to the next one. I messed it up on here. But what I had was Mohamed Naimov versus Joanderson Brito. Now, the reason there. Joanderson Brito has good wrestling, good grappling, sure, but he's not going to stall the whole fight on the wrestling and grappling like Khan Offley was doing. That was a boring fight. Joanderson Brito has got some freaking power in his hands. Mohamed Naimov has some power in his hands. That is two guys who know how to wrestle, know how to grapple, but are going to strike for 3 rounds. And I think that's a banger at 145. If Naimov wins, he's right outside of the top 15 with only 1 loss to a beast in Felipe Lima. If Joanderson wins, he's beating a highly touted guy, 4-1 in the UFC with great wins. Nathaniel Wood is on his record. So it's a good win-win either way for both of them, fighting a tough guy and getting right outside of the rankings and, petitioning for a shot inside of the top 15. I like it. Then we got Shamil Gaziev. You guys saw it. I'm not gonna pretend like you didn't. All right. Don't laugh. I know it's a funny sight to behold. Derek Lewis, Shamil Gaziev in 2025. I know. Please don't unfollow, unsubscribe. Don't do that. I'm being serious here, guys. I'm being completely serious here. All right. Heavyweight division. Shamil is ranked 14th. I think after his last win, he should be ranked above Waldo. Waldo, what are his wins? Robelis de Spain, not in the UFC. Andrei Arlovsky, not in the UFC. Lucas Brzezinski, not in the UFC. Chase Sherman, not in the UFC. Jared Vindera, not in the UFC. And a loss to Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Now, a lot of wins, yes. A lot of wins. 5-1 in the UFC. Impressive. But Shamil Gaziev is just better. He's 2-1. Not as good of a record, but actually beating good guys. 3-1. 3-1 in the UFC. Martin Badai, who's right outside of that top 15. That's a legit win right there. Dante Mays, that is a legit win. He's right outside of the top 15. And then Thomas Peterson, but it was a round 1 knockout. Okay? UFC. These are UFC fighters. Put Shamil Gaziev above Waldo Cortez Acosta, and you'd have number 13 versus number 10. Makes a lot of sense if you ask me. Number 10, number 13, co-main event of a UFC fight night, because Derek Lewis do not want to train for 5 rounds. So make this a 3-rounder. Shamil, sure as hell, after the Jairzinho fight, does not want to train for just 5 rounds. He wants to do a 3-rounder. So let's make a 3-rounder. Co-main event. Next one. Banger. Did I mess up, or is that the next fight? Yes. Terrence McKinney. Banger. Terrence McKinney is a round 1 wrecking ball machine. Okay? Wrecking ball machine right here. 6-4 in the UFC, all round 1, round 2, wins and losses. He's nowhere near the rankings. Let's look at that. Nowhere near the rankings. He's coming off a loss, and he got a win. He's 3-1 in his last 4, which is impressive. Another guy coming off a good, solid win is Michael Johnson. And what do we want? We want violence. We've seen Michael Johnson get knocked out badly by Diego Ferreira. And we've seen Michael Johnson stay at range and outstrike some good guys. And beat some legit contenders. This is a banger. For simply just doing the new versus the old in a banger on the Fight Night main card opener. Liven up the card. Put it on the early prelims of a UFC card on International Fight Week. I don't care what you do. Let's see this fight. Next one. We got Jasmine Jasudavicius. Now, I don't know if it's going to be on here. I might have deleted this one. It is. I messed it up. Let's preface that first. UFC 305. It's already happened. I messed up. I'm sorry. I was meaning to talk about UFC 315. That is the what is it? The Canada card coming up later this year in May. It's February, March, April, May. It's a quick turnaround, but Jasmine took no damage. She didn't get punched a lot of times. Took no damage. Rose has been in a lot of main events recently. Let's stop that. Let's put him on the main card of a pay-per-view. You guys are going to be like, oh, women in the main card. It's Jasmine Jasudavicius. She's always fun to watch. And it's Rose Namajunas. I know, not always fun to watch, but a former two-time UFC women's strawweight champion. Was ranked in the top 5 of the women's flyweight division also. So, come on, guys. Come on. This is a great fight. This is a great fight. So let's do it. Rose Namajunas, I think ranked number 7. Jasmine, I think ranked around number 12. I can verify that. That's just off the dome. Let's see how smart my MMA game is. Rose is number 6. Jasmine is number 12. I messed up. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's a good fight. Bogdan Grad. Let's give him a slight step up. Shia Nurmagomedov. He's 3-3 in the UFC. He's fun to watch. He's got some good striking, good grappling, just like Bogdan. They both have similar skill sets. It's just a fun fight. It's a fun fight. Two guys that never are going to be ranked or champion, but are going to put on some fun. Put it on a May UFC fight night. Put on an April UFC fight night. I don't care. It's a good fight, though. Let's do this. Then we got, last but not least, that's channel memberships. It deleted on me as well because I deleted it. I put Rodrigo Nascimento and Hamdi Abdelwahab, not remembering Rodrigo's not in the UFC anymore. So instead of that, let's do Hamdi Abdelwahab versus Martin Badai to just get rid of one of them. I don't want to see both of them inside of the rankings. So let's get rid of one of them. Winner gets a rank shot after that. Hamdi versus Martin Badai. But that's what I got. Those are the fights to make next. Shara Magomedov, Jairzinho Saeed. All these losers, if you do want to see who I pick for all of them to fight next, check out the Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. Bert_MMA. We got like 18,000 followers on there. Go check it out. We got news coming every single day, all day. And we got the second and third account for even more news. So go check out over there. And we'll see you over there. But what do you guys think? Thanks for watching.